Kitten. Hi, Hunter. Okay. Now I want to talk about VampireFreaks. For those of you who happen to not know what VampireFreaks is, VampireFreaks was originally created as an alternative, more specifically goth-friendly website, meant to appeal to us gothy and some punks, metalheads sort of people. As of, I guess, a while now, like 2-3 years or so, it has declined a lot. It's borderline dead at this point. I don't even think a lot of people even use the site anymore. I think there's a lot of users on there that just are completely dead. And I don't mean literally dead, I mean they don't use the website anymore. I'm someone who does have an account on the website, though I rarely use it at this point because... I'll explain. There's a reason why it is pretty much dead at this point. And that is, it a while ago, a few years back, sort of got taken over by the whole emo thing that cropped up. Shit ton of emos just kind of flew the fuck in to VampireFreaks. And unfortunately, it has pretty much stayed that way. As it stands, there's a lot of emo and scene crap. And hipster crap now, too, because, you know, hipsters have decided that they're all new goths. So now there's a bunch of hipsters, emos, and scenes mostly on the site. There's not a lot of goths anymore, pretty much no punks, and very little metalheads on the site anymore. And this is kind of the decline of the website. It's gone from being an alternative site to being a fucked up, stupid hipster site and shit. But for the goths that are still on there, holy shit, they're almost all very, very elitist. Not all of them are elitist, but a lot of them are elitist. A lot. This is especially true with the Gothic Sanctuary cult that is on VampireFreaks. Holy shit, the elitism in there is almost painful. They are people who are of the opinion that you only can be goth if you only listen to goth rock music and you don't really care for other genres. If you don't constantly listen to goth music, you cannot call yourself a goth. There are also people who are of the opinion that if you're a cybergoth, you can't be a goth. If you like anything other than the trad goth and industrial fashion style, you can't be a goth. They're those kind of people, so I prefer not to associate or do anything with them because they're incredibly difficult to talk to, and they're kind of all assholes. I mean, it's very annoying. Timon, playing with Crinkle. The site has a chance to be a genuinely good goth site, though. I mean, it's got the setup for it. I mean, hell, it calls its little groups cults. That's so cute. VampireFreaks has a great setup to be a good goth website, a goth social media website, and we kind of need that. We need that. It also could be a good place for punks, too. It easily could become one of those sites, but VampireFreaks is sort of complaining about how the site's on the decline, how it's not doing well, how it's not drawing a lot of traffic. And the reason it's not is because it's been taken over by hipsters and emos and scenes. Your site would do great if you went back to your roots and got rid of the hipsters and scenes and emo kids. Most of which are probably not active anymore because they've done fucked off to more recent trends. But what I would like to see for VampireFreaks is for it to sort of shut down for a little while, stay out of the limelight, and do what they can to get rid of the hipsters and whatnot. And the easiest way to do this is make the site blatantly goth, or blatantly punk. Because that will make the hipsters be like, well, this isn't really new goth, this is something else. Because new goth and pastel goth, hipster goths are not goths. So if you start filling up your VampireFreaks site with actual goth shit, that us actual gothy folk and punks love, the hipsters are going to leave. Because it's not their stuff. It's not the things they like because they're not goth. Now, I'm not saying you can't dress in a new goth fashion style, whatever. It's not really a thing, to be honest. and not be a goth. I'm just saying the actual hipsters are not going to stick around. It's the same thing with emo and scene kids. Most of the emo scene accounts on there are dead anyway. They're not active anymore. No one uses them. But emo and scene are a little different, and they've got other places to go, like MySpace. Yes, I made a reference to MySpace. VampireFreaks needs to basically phase out their hipster-friendly shit and phase in a bunch of goth and punk-friendly stuff instead of just having things that sort of appeal to the hipsters and the emos and the scene kids. The fact that there is not a lot of goths and punks on the site is very blatantly clear if you look through the cults. There's like one that is goth-oriented, and that's that incredibly elitist one. And that one's not even worth being part of because it's just filled with elitists. And you look on there for a punk cult? Yeah, no, there's none. But there are so many fucking emo and hipster ones. Holy shit. And that's why the site has declined, is because it's pandered too much to hipsters and emos and scene kids, instead of trying to say, like, hey, we're not really for you. I mean, you can come into the site, but we're not really for you. And they will lose interest, or you won't get a lot of them. You'll have some that are interested, but for the most part, you're not going to have very many who are interested. The other thing that VampireFreaks needs to do is be less elitist-friendly. Like, there's going to be elitists. This is unavoidable. Just make them less welcome, I guess? Make it very clear on the site that you can be a goth and not dress goth. You can be a goth and listen to Rammstein. Make that clear. It's the same with you can be a punk and 12 years old. Yes, there are some people who say you can't be a punk and under the age of 18. I don't understand those people. But this is what I mean, is the site does need help, I think. I think what would be best for it is to have the team who runs VampireFreaks to be staffed by goths and punks. Maybe metalheads, too. Even ravers would be better, because right now I don't think it is. I think it's probably run by normies, or people who are more emo, scene, hipster, etc. So, yeah. And VampireFreaks, I used to be fairly active on it when I was younger, because it was a little bit better, even though there was a lot of emos and scenes, and there was some elitist goths on there. There was also decent goths, too, as well. And there were a lot of goths in my area that happened to be on there. And we just all left for fucking Facebook, because Facebook has more goth-friendly shit on it than VampireFreaks currently does. You will find more good goth groups on Facebook than you will on VampireFreaks, and that's part of the problem. A huge part of the problem. The other thing is, fix your fucking app. Holy shit. I tried to use the VampireFreaks app, and it is just so abysmal to navigate on the thing that it's not even worth using. If you want to go on VampireFreaks, don't bother with the app. It is useless. Crinkle is on the counter. She's trying to catch a fly. I allow them to do that, it's fine. As long as there's not food cooking on there or anything. So they need to fix their app, that's one thing. Fix the app. I'd probably use it more if they did fix the app, but VampireFreaks needs to market itself a little bit. I think another thing that would help it as well is getting more models who are actively part of the goth scene. I know they have some models that are actively part of the goth scene, but they have a lot that aren't. They should invest in getting more models that are active goths and active punks and are big members of their scene. That would help them out a lot. Guest speakers is something the site could even do if they wanted. But once the hipsters started filing in from the whole hipster fashion style of new goth pasta, yes, that again, that's when the site kind of went for me, because holy fuck. It was just hipsters left, right, and center, and they were so obnoxious that it's just like, no, holy crap, fuck off. So yeah, I guess there's my little VampireFreaks rants about how the site is dying, and how it's not really a goth punk site anymore, and that it's pandered too much to emos and scenes and hipsters, and that it needs to stop it if it wants to save itself. And frankly, this also comes from a point of view of us gothy folks. We need a social media site that actually functions, that is specifically for our kind of alternative-y people. We need that shit. So yeah.